Adam Kody. We're live.
All right, let's
awesome.
get right into it.
Cool. Yeah, cool. So, so you work for ACEnet.
I do, yes.
Yeah, if you just want to start kind of talking about ACEnet.
Yeah, so I've been working with ACEnet.
So you just like, if you loosen the very back one. Yeah, that should be able to pick it up a little bit.
Okay, I think we're good now.
Okay,
cool.
Yeah,
I started working with ACEnet coming up on 9 years ago.
Right.
I went to OU, right? So I knew Athens, loved Athens.
Yeah.
Graduated in 2014. Moved back to Cleveland, where I'm from originally.
Nice.
And did some work in the financial sector. Well, did some work in hospitality, so I got my degree in, and then some work in the financial sector. And money was great. Everything else about it sucked. So I realized that I wanted to do something different.
Yeah.
And I took some time off, did some traveling. But my core kind of passion and love has always been food. Anything related to food. And I had a friend who was working at ACEnet at the time, and I knew she worked at a nonprofit. I didn't know anything about ACEnet or what she did, really. And she said, hey, I know you're looking to get back into working with food. We have a kitchen manager opening at ACEnet. And I was like, you work in a nonprofit. What are you talking about, a kitchen? Because I know, again, the concept of ACEnet. Didn't know what it was. And she's like, you just got to come down here and see it.
Yeah.
So I came down, I visited, and I went into the kitchen.
Is it the Columbus Road spot still?
Columbus
where's
Road
that?
spot,
Yeah, okay.
What we call the Food Venture Center. And I saw, people from Casa Nueva in there working, and Crumb's Bakery, and like all these businesses that I knew and remembered from when I was in undergrad. But it never occurred to me that there was one place, one kind of central hub of activity where all this happened. Right?
Yeah.
And I was immediately like, yes, I want to do this. So I agree. I took the job, and almost 9 years later, here I am.
So like you said you were like in the financial sector, and you kind of like took some time off. Like when you made that leap, like what were some of the struggles, or like what were you thinking about? Like what were your fears jumping in? Like that sounds pretty scary to like kind of leave. Oh, you're good.
I mean the fears were easily outweighed by the fact that I look at my bank account every month and be like, this is not really bringing me any. Like the bank account was in great shape. But but I don't feel great myself.
Yeah.
Right at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And I was like, clearly making money is not what intrinsically drives me.
Yeah.
Right. That's great for other people. Like if that's a priority, I totally get it and understand it. And obviously that's a piece of the puzzle. But I wouldn't be working in the nonprofit sector if that was what was the most important thing to me at this point. So I just decided that I wanted to do something that was more, aligned with my passions, my creativity, and the ability to help people who are entrepreneurs, and to see them. You get a little bit of like you can share in their successes, right?
Yeah.
Which is hard to come by when you're a small business owner and you're first getting started, which is that's the majority of people we work with at ACEnet are those folks, farmers, food producers. But I think that was, if there was any fear there, it was just like moving back to my college town.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
It's like that seems like not the typical path that people take. But I loved Athens, and I visited it enough after I moved back to where like when I would come down here, I was like, yeah, this was before ACEnet was even a thing. It's like I can see myself living back in Athens, because there's almost like there's a college experience that is OU in Athens, at least for me, and then there's the being an adult in Athens kind of thing, right? And they're both fantastic in their own ways.
Yeah.
So.
That's beautiful. Yeah. Kind of reverse story. Started in Athens, went to Cleveland for a little bit, came back to Athens.
Oh, right on.
Like kind of coming back home rather than like going.
So are
home.
you from here?
Yeah, yeah. I graduated from Athens High School, went to Hawking College originally for 2 years, transferred to OU, which was awesome. Hawking College saved me so much money.
Yeah.
Transferred to OU, finished at OU, and then graduated during the pandemic. But yeah, was up in Cleveland from 21 to 23. I live downtown.
Okay. Cool.
And it was a cool experience, but I ended up just like being in Athens on the weekends more than I was in Cleveland. And I was just like, dude, maybe I should pay attention to that.
There you go. That's a sign.
Yeah,
for sure.
Athens is sick, but Yeah, one of the like I was just looking at your Instagram. You posted like the Gimme Gimme guy,
Yeah.
Zach. Like I messaged Zach to try to get him on. I thought that Gimme Gimme looked pretty cool, but they're one of the companies ran out of ACEnet as well, right?
Absolutely.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Zach's awesome. He's a guy who came here. You know, I don't want to tell his story.
Yeah,
Maybe he will come on here, but we just like there's been, especially it seems like in the last couple of years, you know, it's so cool seeing not just the businesses on their own kind of build a little following and success and, you know, have their own outlets of creativity, but they really start to work together and like just hang out together, like outside. Like this past weekend, we had a surprise birthday party for this guy who's become like, I call him like the ACEnet mercenary. He just has worked for like almost every business at ACEnet and bounced around. He's been around the food scene in Athens for a long time, worked at Casa and Crumbs and, you know, you name it, he's kind of done it. But he's also like just the sweetest, most humble person you'll ever meet. And all these, you know, 4 or 5 different businesses, ACEnet business owners, came together to the mine in Nelsonville, and we said we're going to surprise Matt very gently because he's introverted. We don't want to freak him out, but a nice surprise party. And it was just so cool seeing them all hanging out outside of work.
Like voluntarily for no reason other than building the. That's beautiful. Yeah,
it's awesome stuff.
Wow.
So.
It's cool. What type of struggles does ACEnet face now? Like, what makes your job hard, or what's hard for the small businesses in ACEnet?
Funding, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
money. Yeah.
Like, you know, it's a lot of the work that we do. You know, we're fortunate in that we're a nonprofit, but we do generate our own revenue because we charge money for people to use the space and subsidize. We still want to let, you know, low middle income entrepreneurs access it, but we generate revenue through the space. But like any nonprofit, we are also reliant to an extent on grant funding. And what's happening at the federal level right now, I mean, the biggest grant that's funding our work is frozen. It's been frozen since January 20th.
So what does that mean, like, until you know it's unfrozen?
It means a few things. So we've been growing our staff. When I joined ACEnet, I think we had maybe 8 people on our team. We now have 16. So we basically doubled in size, and a few of those people are funded specifically through this one USDA program called the Regional Food Business Center. That's one of the programs that's frozen for review and under review right now. And that means that the reimbursements, the way these work is that basically we shell out the money, and then the government reimburses us, you know, for payroll, for services, things like that. They haven't been happening, right? So we have partner organizations who've already put people on furlough or laid people off. You know, for various reasons, we're in a little bit better situation where we're able to access other streams to help float things out a little bit longer. But it's just a lot of uncertainty, you know, because beyond the money that pays for ACEnet staff and our partner staff for this program, there's a lot of money tied up in that program that's supposed to go directly to farmers and food producers in the form of these business builder subawards, which is what Reggie does. That's his kind of his niche, and all that money's tied up too. Yeah. Right. So that's like the reality that we're living through right now as leaders at ACEnet and in the food community is like putting on a brave face, but also at the same time really not able to provide clear answers on these really big topics. Like, you know,
probably scary.
Yeah, scary stuff for sure.
So how could the community support ACEnet? Just like supporting the businesses, right? Going to getting some stuff from Gimme Gimme. Hey is another one Reggie talked about, is a newer business in ACEnet. Sure. Like so just supporting those businesses, which I mean, are they like at a farmer's market, website, stuff like that? How else can they support ACEnet, the community, like through this?
Yeah, I mean, we're so ACEnet is entering or has entered its 40th year. So we're celebrating our 40th year. Started in 1985 as a worker-owned network, and is now celebrating year 40 in 2025. And as such, we're doing a couple of events later this year. One is going to be a 40th anniversary exhibit that's going to be at the community center in July. I don't know the exact date in my head, but it's going to be an opportunity for us to showcase just the history, you know, just have photos and, you know, actual artifacts of things from ACEnet going back over the last 40 years.
That's cool.
And then we'll have a big 40th anniversary fundraiser dinner. That's going to be at Blaney Family Farm at the end of September.
Yeah, they're the ones that do like the pizza night, right?
They are. Yeah,
I think they have one coming up. Yeah,
They do. So they're going to be a great partner for that event. Those will both be opportunities for people to contribute to ACEnet if they would like to. I mean, ultimately, though, it's like we want to see people give money to the businesses we work with. Right? To your point, right?
Yeah.
And they're all like, we're so fortunate. I don't think ACEnet would exist without the Athens Farmers Market. Right. That's cool. Such a great, incredible first kind of sales venue for any startup business. We have an incredibly engaged local population when it comes to supporting local businesses, local products, and just to get out in front of people, talk about your product, develop relationships. Places like Kindred Market, Siemens, and then there's smaller grocers too around the region, right? Keller Market House up in Lancaster is a great partner. The Wild Ramp in Huntington, West Virginia, Public Market in Wheeling, West Virginia. We've been around long enough where we've kind of cultivated this sort of mini economy of small grocers and retailers, many of them that are willing and able to carry anything that comes out of ACEnet. At least give it a shot, right? And then Meigs County Farmers Market, too, has really taken off in the last few years down in Pomeroy. They're up to, I think, 30, 40 vendors now.
That's sick, yeah, wow.
And it's a beautiful place. Like, if anyone hasn't been to the Meigs Market, Athens Market is great.
Yeah, I've actually never been to the Meigs Market. Just check it out.
Check it out. It's right there on the river. Pomeroy is a beautiful
Like in
town.
the parking lot, like kind of on the riverfront?
Yep.
I would just assume that
exactly
it's right there. Yeah.
Precisely.
Nice.
So
it's cool. What about Nelsonville? I heard like is that just a talk? Like, am I just hearing people
farmers
say
market?
Maybe there's a Nelsonville? Yeah,
it's happening. No, it's happening. They're doing a farmers market. It's going to be organized, I believe, by so they just opened the Ohio Means Jobs move their office. Ohio Means Jobs moved their office out to the old Fruce Pharmacy right there on the square.
Oh, from right down here
right over here on Union Street.
Union Street, yeah.
So they moved out there, and I think they're going to be the ones organizing that.
Cool.
Nelsonville's a tough market. There have been farmers markets that have been attempted to open there in the past, and for one reason or another, management, number of vendors showing up, they haven't been sustainable.
Yeah.
But we're tangentially involved with this one, and we're hoping that it'll stick.
Yeah,
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Sure.
So one other thing you mentioned was like just the NGOs and the stuff that you're on board. So the CFI was one that you said you've been on the board for a while. And again, that was the one that I volunteered for. Really, the only thing I ever did was go to the Chester Hill produce auction and just like move their produce for them. Sure. But that was cool. Like one time I rode around with Reggie. Like I think that was maybe rural action truck and like dropped some stuff off. But then Reggie mentioned like kind of funding. Maybe some of that stuff is stopped. So like what is the CFI up to right now? Yeah.
CFI is, it's doing a lot of the same great work that they've always been doing, right? It's program fixtures like the donation station, where they, a bunch of local food pantries show up and they receive local produce, locally made products, and it's a food bank, but for all local foods, right? Which is incredibly dope.
Specifically, the perishable items, right? Is that because would you just explain, like if somebody never heard for the CFI at all, would you just like start from scratch? That would be great.
Of course. Yeah. CFI, another long running organization here in Athens. And to take a step back as well, just to explain what we call the Appalachian Accessible Food Network, which is ACEnet, Community Food Initiatives, or CFI, and then Rural Action, 3 organizations that are all impacting our regional food economy in different, unique, and awesome ways. But CFI is, really focused on education, growing your own food, access to healthy food in Southeast Ohio. And one of the ways they do that is the donation station. They utilize ACENet's infrastructure, so our warehouse, loading dock, again, to distribute just to local food pantries. A lot of the food that they're normally sourcing is canned food, processed food. CFI's input into that is, well, let's just strictly focus on local perishable foods, produce, baked goods, dairy, eggs, which obviously are in high demand right now. They're getting that stuff on the regular, and it's like being donated to them, and they're acting as the middle kind of entity and finding the end resource. Just like a few weeks ago, they did their annual seed potato giveaway, where they gave away 80,000 pounds of seed
That's
potatoes.
crazy. That's
amazing.
awesome.
And all happens within 2 days. Like, it's
Wow.
an amazing event. That happens at the ACEnet Nelsonville warehouse. So again, we're just, as I think our role in all of this with that kind of network of organizations is we provide the infrastructure. You know, we help out making sure they have what they need equipment wise to make these amazing things happen, because we have the space.
Yeah.
So, but CFI is great. Yeah.
And the donation station is at the farmer's market, right? Like
they're at the farmer's market.
Yeah.
Yep. They're at the farmer's market. And then they also are at the ACEnet loading dock, depending on the time of year, either once or twice a week. So on Tuesdays all year round. And then they also set up, I believe, on Fridays for the warmer months too.
Nice.
But there's education components. They do the Sprouts program, which the kids love. What's really exciting, about a year ago, they have a just absolute powerhouse person who works on their staff named Amy, and she's the gardens coordinator. And she started a garden behind ACEnet just as a little hobby that has now just totally taken over the whole back area of ACEnet. It's now referred to as the Discovery Garden. It's stunning. It's like, it took what was just like a plain patch of grass next to a dumpster and turned it into this sprawling spectacle of produce and upcycled items. And I would recommend anybody stop by and just check it out. You know, it's still working on it every day now, but it is a testament to what CFI does well.
Yeah, and ACEnet, so it's like, is it 94 Columbus Road? Yeah. So like over by Devil's Kettle.
Correct.
Like where you turn up to Stroud's
right
at.
across the street.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah.
Beautiful. What about, are there any other cool NGOs like other than, or like Rural Action? What about them? I don't think we've talked about them at all.
Oh yeah, Rural Action. I mean, Rural Action is huge, right? They do everything, and you know, they're really on the ground working with farmers. You know, financial needs. They do a whole farm planning workshop that I've been tangentially involved with, where it's like, you know, I don't know how long it is, maybe a 6-month program where they work with farmers across Ohio, but really there have been people in there from across the country who join in. And throughout that series, you know, people learn how to operate farms, right? It's a different expert every week. I usually do one that's focused around regulatory compliance for value-added products. But they have mentors, you know, farmers from around here who hop on the calls, and, you know, mentors are assigned to specific farmers and help them through the process of just getting going and up and running. But Rural Action does everything. I mean, the social enterprise side of it, they do the maker space down on Union Street, Upcycle, which is a thrift store right next to it. They, you know, started the Zero Waste Initiative, right? And Zero Waste events, which goes to music festivals all across the region, started at Rural Action. They've got I always forget the name of this one, but they're basically extracting from creek beds all of the
paint.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I've seen that.
That's a Rural Action social enterprise.
Nice,
So it's like they've filled this again. Everybody's kind of filled their own lane, right? And Rural Action is like, you know, really keyed in on this like direct farmer assistance, environmental education, you know, just finding ways to fill in all these little gaps that have sort of been created because of the extractive industries that, you know, made such an impact on Southeast Ohio for many, many years.
Yeah.
So
nice.
pretty dope.
And all of those, like they would always be at the Chester Hill Produce Auction, which didn't that just start up? How long ago did that start up?
Chester Hill Produce Auction is also a Rural Action social enterprise.
Okay,
so
nice.
that is one of their many
and
cool things.
I thought that was sick. Like the university was there, like buying produce just for their stuff. Like I thought that was really sick. That like I just never even considered, but it makes a lot of sense. Like buy what you can from them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So is the CPA, is that just Amish farmers, or are there other
There's others. It's primarily
Amish.
Amish. But there's anybody can show up and sell their stuff, you know. And I think it's an Athens rite of passage to go to a CPA, to a produce auction, accidentally buy way more tomatoes,
you had no idea,
peppers than you intended to, and then figure out what the hell to do with it. Whether it's giving them out or canning them, you have to do it. You know, you're not gonna know what the hell is going on the first time you go. There's gonna be some guy yelling really fast, and before you know it, you've got a whole trunk full of produce.
Yeah.
But that's, it's the best, and if you do know what you're doing, and if you go a couple times, you will figure it out.
Yeah.
It's a great place to go if you, are interested in doing home canning or any big projects like that.
Yeah.
So.
I just saw, you were talking about rural action during classes and stuff, but I just saw a thing that they were talking about putting a kitchen in at the produce auction and then doing like a preserving class and stuff like that. That would be sick.
Absolutely.
I actually just bought a preserving book this year.
Very cool.
Try to can this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those old, those old Appalachian foodways that is a little bit of a dying art, but like there are people keeping it alive, especially around here.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to find ways to be more reliant on ourselves, to preserve food, and that's a great way to do it. So,
yeah, that's awesome,
yeah.
Man. Well, beyond like the work stuff, like how has Athens treated you? Like you stayed here, you came back, you know what I mean? Like what is special to you about Athens?
Oh man. I think for me, Athens is a place that you can make your own. And what I mean by that is if you have something that you are passionate about and that is meaningful to you, like you can find a community here that's going to support it, right? This isn't the type of community that turns its nose up at an idea or is, hard to penetrate when it comes to like getting people excited. Yeah. Like people get excited here about things that are creative and innovative and different and forward thinking and progressive and all those things that, in a political sense to an extent, but also just generally people like to find reasons to engage with new ideas here. So like that's one thing that I think will never get old, right? In some ways, Athens never changes, but not in a way that it's like stagnant, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right?
Do you think that's the university, just like keeping that energy, like constantly, like just always?
I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
I think that's part. I think the city of Athens wouldn't exist without the university. Right?
Certainly.
That's just pure facts because of 1804. Man, that's a long time ago. But that's what brings people here. I think in the first place. But I think the community itself has, in its own way grown and developed a totally unique identity that in some ways is honestly completely separate from the university, and has nothing to do with what's happening at OU.
Which is kind of what you mean by like there was like this Athens when you were in college and then this like post college. It's
100%.
Like yeah.
I
could relate to that.
My wife works at the university, right? So like I stay kind of tangentially understanding what's going on. I went back to school actually a few years ago, got my master's. So like that was a great experience going back to OU and
where'd you get your master's
and doing all that. I got my master's in public administration. So they have
to support this role, right?
Yeah, exactly. So they have the executive MPA program, which is a great program at the Voinovich School that's, made for people who are full-time employed. Like it's a program that's made for professionals, and they build it out that way. And
it's really awesome.
Awesome program.
Yeah.
We joined it right in the middle of COVID. So the first maybe year that we were in that program, it was all virtual, right? Yeah. Which I didn't love, but it was, that was just the world at that time. Yeah. And then once we got back to going in person in the classroom and, feeling that energy of people exchanging ideas and that like, just intellectual back and forth, like that was just so energizing. And, it was great to get my degree, but I miss it. I miss that. I kind of miss, I really believe that you should never stop learning. And,
for sure.
And that was like, for me, a great experience. So,
wow. That's cool. Great. Well, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I feel a little nervous here. I've just been like jumping around questions to keep the air filled, but, what else is up? Adam Kody.
I mean, I'm looking forward to summer. Yeah. The weather's changing.
Shout out to
nice. We're actually, I don't know. It seems like even there's alerts about thunderstorm warnings today. So I keep looking outside. It's been beautiful here today, but we'll see what happens. I don't know. I got married last year.
Wow. Cool.
We did it on our property. Yeah,
where's the property at?
We're in Guysville. We're like
cool.
20 minutes east of Athens.
Nice.
Kind of right in between Athens and Parkersburg.
Mm-hmm.
We love it out there. We got a dog, cat, some chickens. Just got some baby ducks. And it's nice. We did the wedding on our property, which was a undertaking. Here's something I can hopefully talk about that I don't think it's a secret. I think it's like, a kind of a funny thing. But so I have some friends down here, and one of the reasons that we've stayed down here is we've developed this network of friends and stuff, and we just have a great community that we've gotten to become close with. But one of our friends, her family, who she grew up outside Athens, started this thing like 17 years ago called the Silver Baby Cup.
The Silver Baby Cup.
Silver Baby Cup.
Okay.
And this event is it's an outdoor event that is hosted on people's private property, and it is a weekend-long golf tournament where someone builds, a scaled-down 9-hole course on their property through the woods. Like it's very Appalachian. Yep. And if you win, the way it works is if you win the tournament, the next year you have to host.
Oh.
And a good friend of ours in this group won last year. He doesn't have the land, the property to do
host it. Yeah.
So we asked if he could do it on ours.
Nice.
And we agreed to it. And he's been out a couple times. He'll probably continue to come out. The closer we get to it, it's going to be Labor Day weekend, so end of summer when it's actually happening. And it's just, I've been to a couple of these things. They're crazy. It's a great time. It's as much as it's a golf tournament, just a weekend-long party, camp out kind of situation, music, you name it. But that's a very unique thing.
That sounds
may or
cool.
may not exist in other places,
Yeah.
and I feel like it's very distinctly Appalachian. I didn't grow up here, right? So it's like, this is something that's new to me, but we're excited to host that. So that's something to look forward to. And we are seeking out sponsorship opportunities. So
cool.
sponsor the events.
Shout out to the Silver Baby
Baby Cup.
Yeah, Silver Baby Cup. No, that's cool. So you said you had chickens and ducks. Like, how do you do you just have the chickens in a shed? Do you free range them? Like, are you far off the road and stuff? Like, same with the ducks.
We're set back, so we did free range them. We still do sometimes. Anybody who's had chickens can understand this. Sometimes you get tired of the free range.
Yeah.
They just shit everywhere, and it's a mess. I'm sorry, I don't know if I can swear.
No, yeah, I don't give a shit.
Okay.
But I'm with you. Yeah.
They just leave. They leave a mess anywhere they go.
Yeah.
So we've been free ranging them this year, but it kind of gets to a point where it's like, okay, that's enough. Because what they always do is they leave their roost and they come over straight to the house and they just sit on our patio, look in our windows, and they just shit everywhere, and they go back. It's like, that's not why we let you guys.
Yeah.
We want you to walk around the yard and eat bugs.
Yeah.
And so there's a push and pull, I guess, with the chicken thing. With the ducks, we'll see. We had one duck in the past, just one. Well, we had a bunch, and then they all ran away except for one, and they were already grown. And that one thought he was a chicken because he was just surrounded by chickens, right? So that wasn't probably an accurate representation of what to expect. So we got 4. When I say we, I mean my wife picked up 4 ducklings, and they're already growing up so fast. So we'll see what they're like.
Are they egg-laying ducks or just like normal?
We're hoping. We don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, if they're female, then yes, we should get eggs out of them.
But I didn't realize how much bigger ducks' eggs were than chicken eggs.
Yeah.
But it's crazy.
Yeah, they're delicious too.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
good.
We how many chickens do you have?
I think right now we're at 6.
Wow.
Yeah, we were at our most. I think we're at maybe 10 or 12, I want to say, and chickens just tend to die, like the predator gets them, or they die of natural causes. But right now we're at 6.
I've had chickens growing up. Same thing, free ranged them growing up. But now we bought 12 chickens, and 6 of those 12 died in the first maybe like 2 weeks. They told us when we bought them like that they were a couple days late. It's like maybe we should have known. So 6 of them died. So then we were like, all right, let's buy 12 more. Math, 6, get to 12.
Sure,
Only 2 of the second 12 died.
No.
So we have 16.
Wow.
And we built a coop for them. But we've been going through the conversation of like, we free range them. Like, we don't live like, we live right up on a road, but it's like, back. It's like the back end of Fisher, right on the line of Meggs and Athens. And so it's like, not a bunch of traffic, but we settled in kind of like a coop electric fence, maybe just to kind of move the electric fence around because we wanted them to get in the yard and whatnot. The idea was to move the coop, but there were so many chickens that it got so big that it's like just terrible to move now.
To move it.
Yeah. So we're just gonna try to run an electric fence, but I'm excited. We had a rooster growing up, and I have just this one terrible experience with it. Like I had like an old ice cream pail full of eggs, and the rooster just ran. I just like launched the entire bucket of eggs at the rooster, just like scared as a little boy. Yeah. Ruined all the eggs. Dad was pissed. Oh my god. And then ever since then, I was like, I'm never gonna own a rooster. Like fuck a rooster. I don't need that in my life.
We've never done the rooster.
We don't. We don't have one. No plan.
Filled that role.
That's a little temper.
He's the male to the end. He wasn't very good at it, but he would kind of at least be loud and assert his dominance.
Any advice on taking care of chickens?
Oh man, I would say don't get too attached.
Yeah, good advice.
Get them sunlight whenever possible in the winter for sure.
Okay.
Because sunlight is what a lot of times it helps set their schedule. It helps. More sunlight, they say, leads to better yolks, right? So if you want better quality eggs, and feed them well. We have a friend who has a Connect. Some Amish farmer we get organic feed for like a really good price. So just like anything, whatever you put into it is what you get out.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I think that's true as ever for chickens. Yeah. But yeah, they're work. They don't always do what you want them to do. But they're funny too. Certainly entertaining.
Yeah. So. We're trying to train them like every time I come in the coop now, try to bring like some chicken scratch or some mealworms to just like make them want to like me, but they haven't enjoyed.
They haven't quite.
No, they like I'll stay as far away as possible, but it's been super fun. Cool. We had them in the garage for a while, but they just got so big so fast.
You got them as chicks?
Mm-hmm. We bought them from Rural King and Gallipolis.
Okay. Yeah.
And and so we bought like the first batch the first week of March, and and then we like 6 died within a week, and we like just went back the next Saturday, bought 12 more. But it's a good variety. Like some of them, I'm pretty sure they're all egg-laying species. Like they ranged from like I don't know, like 180s to 2 something a year. But we got some like black feather-footed ones, some like gray ones, some like floofy headed ones. We have a good variety. It looks like a nice little flock.
Nice.
So
awesome,
it's been fun. Yeah. But ducks would be cool. I said one new animal a year. Chickens first year.
Sure.
try one new animal.
One new animal.
What about a garden? You you sound a food guy, right? You gotta have a garden out there.
Of course, yeah. We just planted a bunch of peppers, tomatoes. All the regular stuff, and then some weird stuff. She wanted to plant some loofah, so we got some of that going.
Like the gourd things that you turn into? What do you... Maybe I don't know what that loofah is. What is that?
It's like... if you ever go into a health food store that has an area for soap and things like that, you might see a sort of scratchy-looking sponge that has a string, something you'd use in the shower. That's actually a plant called a loofah.
Wow.
And some people eat these things too. I have no interest in doing that. But yeah, we're growing some loofah.
Nice.
And it's a pretty good garden. It sort of is growing every year. The space that. But again, you got chickens and you're free ranging them. Like they're gonna go in and they're gonna fuck that whole garden up.
We fenced ours up. But ideally the chickens aren't getting out. But we have been kind of parenting. A follow up question that I had locked was like, how do you keep the deer out? We bought some marigolds. We heard maybe marigolds keep the deer away. But we just put up a tiny little fence. And like as we get cans, just put a can on there, try to make some noise or something. But I don't know.
We had to go about that high.
Ours is not that tall. Yeah. Oh, fly over it. Yeah. Well, is it fucked up to clip them? Because like even if we put them in an electric fence, like they'd fly over that. Like what? Is that just not? Is that frowned upon?
I think you could do whatever you got to do.
Yeah, I guess.
We haven't clipped ours.
Yeah. We free range it. So
yeah. We haven't felt the need to, but do whatever you need. I mean, what's most important, I think, is making the coop itself as secure as possible. Yeah. Because some of these predators, I mean, when I say some, I'm almost specifically just talking about raccoons, are so smart and are so crafty, and they will find a way, right? They'll find a way to get in there, and even if it just means getting one hand in, if they can get a hand in there and grab a chicken, they'll figure out a way to get it out.
That's crazy.
We've come across some pretty nasty, gory stuff over the years.
Wow, that scares me. I think the only thing growing up that I saw with our chickens is like we had a hawk that would like just come fuck with our chickens all the time.
Hawks for sure.
Yeah, but I don't really remember that. Our neighbor had like guinea chickens, were like good for eating ticks and stuff, and then but they said most of them disappeared during the day. Like you just like but they were free ranging them and stuff. So I don't know, like a coyote, fox, like there's even some like big kind of bird dogs or something out where we live. But I don't know. I mean, write it off to the game. I'm not obviously like thankfully my lifelong carpenter dad helped me build the coop. Wouldn't have made it without him. But hopefully, it's secure.
Sounds like it. Okay. Yeah. So did you grow up in Meigs County or Athens County?
Athens County. Yeah, I grew up on 682. Like it's like not in Athens city limits, but it's not in the plains either. You know, it's like a couple minutes past. Like if you're coming from Athens, it's like maybe 2 or 3 minutes past University Estates on 682.
Yeah, sure.
And grew up right there. Went to the plains, elementary, Athens Middle School, Athens High School. And like so we don't like live in the country. I didn't grow up in the country by any means, but like I could pee off my back porch. You know what I mean? So it's like cool and. I mean, it's a quaint little thing. But like, I think it was kind of the perfect little mix. Like it was close to things, 7 minutes to uptown, but like still, we're able to have a little garden and stuff like that. So
I grew up in a very densely populated.
What part of Cleveland?
Place called Lakewood.
You
live.
It's like
in
that's like
so
the Athens of like
pretty much.
That's what OU students would say. It's like Athens next to Cleveland. That's Lakewood.
I've heard there's a bar and they say there's a bar and a church on every corner in Lakewood. But it is the most. A lot of times when young people, whether they're from there or not, but like if you finish college and you move to Cleveland for a job, you're probably going to live in Lakewood because there's a lot of housing, a lot of apartments. A lot of what we call doubles, right? 2-unit houses, and they're just kind of stacked on top of each other. But different, but also a great place to grow up. You know, just like being able to go out in my neighborhood and have all these friends living all around and hop on our bikes and get into trouble and come back and it was a really cool place to grow up and see. Different slices of humanity, because Lakewood is a very, the closer you get to the lake, it's on Lake Erie, right? The closer you get to the lake, the bigger the houses get, right? The wealthier it gets. The further you get from the lake, the smaller the houses get, the more apartment buildings, and like, it's I think 5 miles long by 2 miles wide, and it's got almost 60,000 people in it, right? So it's a very densely populated community, but a lot of artistic types and creatives and great food, music, all that stuff. So, it's a good place. It is kind of like Athens, the Athens of Cleveland.
Yeah, just aesthetically, like if you're like just talking about the looks of it, like when you drive down some of the streets, like it just looks like the West Side, where you're like, that's definitely a family house. That's definitely a college house. That's you know what I mean? Like I just would get that vibe where it would be like the whole street was like, this is like a street of families, and then this is just a street like that similar vibe. Like that's what I got out of Lakewood. But I liked the far side of Lakewood, like kind of right into Rocky River. That's like I loved. My favorite thing to do, because like I thought it would be sick to not drive when I lived in downtown Cleveland, but then I loved driving because I almost never did it. But like I would take the Shoreway through, like I would like 9th Street all the way down, hook the Shoreway by the stadium, and that drive was great. Like I loved it, and then I would just drive it all the way to Rocky River where the yoga studio was at. But I liked Lakewood and a lot of my friends. But what I didn't understand about Cleveland, like. I would talk to people from like during OU and they're like, I'm from Cleveland. But what that really meant was like, I'm from North Royalton and I'm from Brecksville and I'm from Willoughby and I'm from like,
Medina.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So then like all these people, I like hit them up and they're like, oh, we go downtown for Cavs, Guards and Browns. Right. And I was like, fuck. And so, so it's like the people in Strongsville go to Johnny's, and the people in whatever, in Lakewood are going to around the corner. And it was like, I didn't know no one came. So. But so I had friends in Lakewood. I liked it a lot. Honestly, if I would have lived in Lakewood, maybe it would have made the like transition just good enough that it would have stuck me there, because like I could imagine I like living In Lakewood, yeah, probably would have been the closest.
I think it's an easier place if someone's moving to Cleveland, especially a young person, than downtown. I would imagine Lakewood is, and it's walkable, and it's just like there's coffee
bus.
shops.
Like I had friends that worked uptown that would just bus, like because the CSU bus and the other bus.
When I worked downtown as well, and I would take the bus every day. That was the move for sure. Rapid transit, right? The train.
RTA.
RTA. So.
Cleveland, man. Yeah, dude, love Cleveland. I still go up. Like my day job's with a public accounting company out of there.
Cool.
And we're headquartered up out of there, so I go there probably the most. But I still enjoy it. We're right on the corner, like where the Playhouse Square chandelier is.
Yeah.
The old U.S. Bank building. It's like a black castle-y looking building.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I'm posted up at. Yeah, but
right on.
love Cleveland.
There's a Lakewood. It's one thing. I think just in general, there's a Cleveland Athens connect. Like I run to people in Cleveland all the time, and I tell them that I live in Athens or I went to OU, and like you're gonna see their eyes light up. There's some kind of connection there that I don't know exactly what it is, but it exists.
We call it the 3 C's: Cleveland, Columbus, Cincinnati. That is about 67% of OU, right? Like that's the joke that my friends make.
True.
Yeah, a lot of Bobcats for sure. A lot of legacy Bobcats, like people that went to OU just because their parents did. Like that was a lot of my Cleveland friends. Like, for the brand.
So what would you say was the biggest thing that brought you back to Athens?
The community, it made me understand why sports are so important to big cities, like why the Browns and the Cavs and the Guards are so important. Like nobody cared. Nobody looked me in the eyes when I walked on the street in Cleveland. Like I'd be begging. I should credit to say that I moved up right at the end of the pandemic. I moved up in 2021 as the restrictions are getting lifted. Maybe just socially, that was like the thing is like we had kind of, maybe it's that. I don't know if I've given enough credit to that, but yeah, just like I felt desensitized to everybody. There were so many people. It was like they didn't matter. And so then I would just be like looking for the sense of community, like trying to just personally, like trying to take my identity beyond work. Like work was really the only reason I went up there. Like I liked the Cleveland Browns ever since Peyton Hillis beat Tom Brady. Like I don't know why I remember that football game. I just do. So like ever since that game, I was like, all right, dude, Peyton Hillis, what's up, Cleveland? And so then I was trying to find an identity outside of that. And it was really peaceful to completely disappear. Like my whole life, whatever, I'd like bump into a second grade teacher, like going to, coming out of a bar, like, you know what I mean? And so really got to disappear, find out who I am when no one is watching, realize that's you forever. And then just started to, the more that I looked for that identity, I like just kept finding it back in Athens. And honestly, a little bit of like, in my era of growing up here, the one narrative might have been to be successful, you must get a degree and leave the area. Like the university is like a path to success or maybe like a small business here. But outside of that, like there wasn't an idea being like furnished to us that you could be successful here. And so like COVID just rocked that, you know what I mean? Like I started my job remote. I was supposed to start, I accepted a year before in 2019, I accepted a full-time offer in Cleveland 2020. That became a remote internship offer, or it became a remote offer, then like a remote internship offer for 3 months and then full-time. Like, so just kind of kept, they moving the needle. And so I started from Athens remotely right after college. I was living with my parents and I became an effective, efficient employee. Like I could do my job as well as anybody that like would be in person. Yeah, so then it wasn't like a guess, like could I do this? I would say I didn't know what I was missing. Like in person was really important. I don't think I'd still be with the company that I am with now, like if I didn't have that in-person experience to get to know the people, or like, build some type of relationship. But yeah, so like the narrative of you have to leave, I thought I had to. Like I thought I was trapped in Athens, and if I didn't get out, I would just never be successful. I left, started to question that, and then just kind of organically, like I said, like I found myself in Athens more than I was in Cleveland. And like even just growing up, like my relationship with my brother, like developed, like whatever, like siblings growing up, like we weren't super tight growing up, but then we got closer and closer. And like the first 3 months I was in Athens, I spent more time with him than probably the previous 7 years of our lives. And then he passed away in August of 23. So it's like, I think that I came back. Oh, I appreciate that. I think I came back at the right time. Like, I think it was supposed to. I think about that all the time, how, like, I came back to Athens and that 3 months got more time than the past 10 years. What hyperbolize it. So it's just, like, beautiful. Like, I think that like I let go of the idea that I had to leave, or that I just let go of all those expectations and was like, fuck it, I want to be back here. And I started coaching middle school football with like the dude who coached me when I played, you know. It's like so beautiful. Like listening to him coach the kids, I'm still getting coached, you know, like I still feel like a 10-year-old. Like he'll be explaining, you know, to them like some shit like, guess what, it's going to be hard, get up, do it again, you know. And like I'll just, you know, have a hard work day or something, or just be going through anything, you know, but brother passing away, and just like there's so many moments that I still feel like a 12-year-old being coached by him, and it's beautiful, you know. So it's like the community, man. Like I was able to plug back in with be around the people that I wanted to be around, you know. And again, to the thing, maybe it's just we're just past COVID now, but like I could just like driving on my back road, I could wave, you know, and they're gonna wave back to me. Like I think that doesn't happen everywhere. No. You know, so like it's so beautiful. Like I think it's small enough that the people matter, but it's like big enough to still be cool and groovy, you know?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
There's definitely more of a you know, and people, I think relatively people in Northeast Ohio are nice people. Yeah. There's more anytime you go to a bigger city, I think there's more built-in people are protecting themselves, right?
It kind of makes sense.
Less likely to, you know, step out there and you know, that's definitely the same thing where I live. I don't drive past a single person on the roads to my house and not get waved at. Yeah. Right, which I still find funny, you know, and I wave back. Right?
Yeah, some of the I still don't know their names.
I almost still have to force it. I'm like, I guess I gotta wave. You know, I don't want to be an asshole. Yeah. So, it's cool, man. Yeah, that's great. Wow, what a story, man. I'm so sorry about your brother, dude.
I appreciate that. It
sucks.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Well, this has been.
Yeah, Adam, Kody, I appreciate you coming on.
Yeah. For sure.
Any time, like if you'd like to come back and talk about more things, like if it gets closer to those 40th anniversary celebrations or something like that, even after it, to talk about how it went and like things going. I'd love to open the doors of recurring invite for sure.
And I'd love to get you connected to some of our business owners.
It'd be incredible. Like, yeah.
Because I know you're interviewing Ronnie too.
Yeah, Thursday. Yeah, Thursday.
Which is just like working your way through the ACEnet staff, which is awesome. And Ronnie will be great. I mean, he himself is a business owner.
Yeah.
And, amazing history. Like, just like he's lived all over the place and
can't wait.
Has so many stories. But that's all the entrepreneurs we work with have stories because they're all people who, in some ways, as you're kind of doing here, like living their dream. Like I want to work for myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have this vision, and I want to find. And most of them are on the way to that vision, right? They're not there yet. Yep. They're working their way towards it, but they're really willing to lay themselves down and like do it every single day. And it's not easy. Yeah. So I think that's a great opportunity as well, and I'm happy to make some of those introductions.
Yeah, for sure. It would be really sick to like talk to somebody from Rural Action, or even maybe somebody else from the CFI again. Like who did I talk? Susie. Is she still at the CFI?
She's not with CFI anymore.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's Susie right. Reggie actually told me that. I'm sorry.
Susie left, about this time last year.
Yeah. Okay.
But she was a long time staple. Sarah will be great, the executive director.
Cool.
Amy, I told you about Amy in the Gardens. Mm-hmm. She would be wonderful as well.
Perfect.
For sure.
Awesome. Well, again, appreciate your time. Adam, Kody, ACEnet, you're the man.
Cool, man.
Awesome.
Thanks, Alex.
Thanks.